you? Hi.
How are you doing?
Well, I am really sorry because one thing that your mother really struggles with is
Time.
time zone math. And so I told you we were going to record at a certain time, and you called me, and I was sitting in a cute little cafe in Montgomery, Alabama, and I got the time zone wrong. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me for being late. But,
Hmm.
parents make mistakes too. I do so frequently, and time zone math is one of them that I just, it's easy. Let's be honest, it's easy.
Yeah,
It's not
I
always
think
executed well.
I think the issue is realizing that people are in another time zone in the first place. I think that's where the problem stems from.
Right. Like we've been doing this for decades and centuries as humanity, and I still can't completely, fully wrap my head
Well,
around.
you
But anyway, I wanted to say I rushed
yeah.
back. I got showered. And one thing I hope you appreciate as a child is that a parent that can get ready really fast. Like I have showered and gotten ready. Yes, my hair is still wet and I'm still putting on some makeup in 23 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that should be a requirement for everyone. If you take over an hour to get ready, you're
What are you doing?
ridiculous. Like it's just whatever. I mean, this for whoever this is for who hears this. If you're taking over an hour to get ready, you can't fix what that is. Like the makeup's not
Oh,
covering up whatever the issue is. There's other stuff going on.
so you brought a friend home from college or acting conservatory class once, and we will not use
Yeah.
any names. You were not really dating, just a friend, I think. But
No, completely platonic.
you and I sat down, and I think we had kind of gotten distracted because we started watching a movie. The
We put
movie
on
ended.
yeah. We they went in the back to start doing makeup and we watched the entirety of the movie Ghost. And then we left. And then when we got to where we were going, my friends, it was like a weeknight. So my friends had already been there for like an hour, and then it took another hour for us to get out there. And so then by the time so that 2 hour window, we got there, and like my friend is married, and him and his wife had work the next day. And
And they're like,
so
we're leaving.
yeah, they were like, it's really nice to see it. We literally took some photos and they left. And then and then the person got a headache for some reason, and we came right back. So it was 2 hours of getting ready. And again, this is a platonic relationship. I know there's sons out there that like you have a girlfriend, and so you kind of you put a little extra, put up with a little extra because you're dating and you love each other, whatever. This was just like a friend,
Right.
like
But
and
we were
like
also very patient. But there comes a time where it can't take you 90 minutes to get ready.
that's exactly my point. For a friend to take that long and for us to be so patient, because I think this is interesting. I think friends should be people that they're like you put up with the most from your friends, but also the least.
I think you need friends that you can be the best version of yourself with. You also need friends who love you when you're the worst version of yourself
Yeah.
and can help you also correct things. Like I don't want to have to put on a pretense for in front of my friends, but I also love when they call me out on stuff
You should be able to tell your friend to shut up,
in
but
a nice way.
also that you love them. But like I feel like that's the good litmus. Like when somebody like we all have friends that say crazy stuff, and you should be able to be like, "What are you talking? Stop it. That's insane." And you should also have a friend that like you're having a
Yeah,
hard day, they'll sit there and they'll listen.
exactly. I think that's a good balance. So anyway, that all that to say, I hurried to get ready as fast as I could, Henny, and I'm sorry for being late today. So please forgive me. But
I will consider it.
I will consider it. So I am in Montgomery, Alabama, and
Yep.
I wanted to ask you how you would feel about a little travel segment each podcast because I'm literally in a
You
different
are going
city
around.
every time we do a podcast. I'm in a different
Yeah.
city. So can I
Yep.
give you one little travel thing? I'm doing a speaking engagement tonight at the Selma Touchdown Club or Quarterback Club. So all around the South, they have these they call them Touchdown Club or Quarterback Club of people who love football, and they get together once a week. They do fantasy picks. They talk about football. They bring in guest speakers like coaches, media. And I've been here before. These are very, very nice people. But so I'm staying in Montgomery, Alabama, and I just wanted to show you, and I'll send this to Robbie so he can edit it in.
Yeah.
Rosa How Parks. Cool is that? Rosa Parks. So I'm here where the famous bus sit-ins and Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on the bus. And then I also saw this incredible mural today from Maya Angelou, which I don't know, is hitting me very strongly right now. It says, history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. So I just feel like I'm having a beautiful day, revisiting positive things that have happened in our country's history to make our world a better place and change things.
I think, well, I don't know about positive, but
she had to fight and stand up and have courage to make positive change.
Positive. She was making positive change. I don't know if that was positive. It was happening during the civil rights movement.
Right. The experience wasn't positive. She was fighting to make positive change was my point.
She was a positive. Actually, we were on the phone earlier, and you were talking about you have a friend who's like leaving the country. And I was like, I've been thinking about it. And that Maya Angelou quote does that's how I feel about stuff. Whatever your political leanings are, to all the people that are like, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here. That's not courageous. Like it's if you think something is going to happen, stay and make it better. You know, like things can get better if you become a part of the solution, not jump off the ship. You know, that's been because I've seen that all over Twitter or whatever the hell it's called. And people are like, I'm moving, I'm leaving, it's done, I'm going to England. And I'm like, stay. That's a part of the issue. You're not helping anyone.
Be a part of the solution and the positive change. Yeah. I get it. I get it without getting into politics, because we definitely don't want to do that. But I do think, how can I say this without it being controversial? Women in this country definitely feel like the curtain has definitely been pulled back, and we have definitely seen the truth of no matter how competent, smart, accomplished, eloquent, good you are at your job, that doesn't mean you'll always get the job. And that's kind of a hard lesson for a lot of us women who've been fighting for different equalities, honey. I think some of us are just really exhausted right now.
If you don't have a solution, I don't want to hear about the problem. If that makes sense. Like if you're gonna just, and that might seem, ableist or something, but I don't want to hear you whine, because whining does nothing. It's fun. You can whine with I whine with my girlfriend all the time. That's what her job is. We support each other. We're companions and we're partners. She gets to hear all of I whine to her all day. But I'm not gonna whine to every Tom, Dick, and Harry and go on the internet and be like, oh, today at the bar was tough, And I'm not saying that's what everybody's doing.
What was me, right?
But
I like that. We are solution-based people, I think.
Yeah. To the detriment of our health, probably, but who cares?
But we can also understand that people might be hurting and to be empathetic to people's pain and experience as well. Yeah, I like that. Can we circle back on something you just said, though?
Yeah.
What are you whining about? Have I raised a whiner? Have I raised a whiner?
You whine. What are you talking about?
I rarely whine. I am not just a whiny person. Under no circumstance.
Are we lying now? We're lying on the podcast? We're telling lies?
What do I whine about? What have I whined about?
All kinds of stuff.
Give me an example.
The election.
That's discussion. That's not whining.
Me. You whine to me about me.
What? I feel like we might have different definitions of what whining is. I feel like whining is people who bitch and complain about everything, no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
And they tend to find the negative in everything instead of the positive. And I am not a whiner. I do not do that.
You can whine and not be just whiny. I think it's a litmus,
So back to my question, what are you whining about?
Okay,
don't you have a happy life? What are you whining?
I whine all the time.
Give me an example.
My back was hurting me, because I have, thanks to you, a genetic issue where my hips are messed up.
Oh, now that's my fault?
Well, where'd I get the genes from?
Your father?
Well, he doesn't exist, so yeah, that's called erasure. But no, so one of you two did something because now my hip is messed up.
Your back.
And if I don't take care of my hip, my back will start to hurt, and then my shoulder, and then my side, and all of my injuries from the years come
You
to
know what's so
bear.
crazy about that? That I have learned after a lifetime of covering athletes. Did
Yeah,
you know your whole body is connected? So that if you
yeah,
don't take care of your back and your hip, your foot will hurt, your ankle will hurt. Like
yeah,
there is a full body, mind body connection that you've got to be
yeah,
aware of. So
yeah.
I'll tell you what I did this week. I have also been having a hip issue because all of my cancer surgeries, they cut out about this much of my body and like hitched it all up like this to take out cancer.
Yeah.
So my hips are crooked. Like, so if you see my body, I look like this. So my people on the podcast can't see that uneven. I'm showing uneven hands. Anyway, so I have made a goal to do 2 days of yoga per week. I believe with all of my heart that yoga is the key to long life and happiness and success with eliminating stress, anxiety through your body and through your mind through yoga movement, and the stretching keeps you supple. So
Yeah.
I started a yoga challenge with one of my coworkers. Would you like to be in on the yoga challenge? So we text each
No.
other after we
Oh,
do
I thought you were
yoga.
asking me for a second. I was like, no way will I be doing that. Continue.
Please continue. So do you want to do yoga 2 days a week and be in our accountability text chain where you just text us and say, all right, just finished my yoga twice a week. It's a small goal to start with.
Yeah. How's it been going? There it is. Anyways, that's cool though.
So that's
Great.
a no. So you'd rather whine about your back than fix your back.
Oh, you were asking me. I was asking how it went. You didn't hear my question.
I was asking you, do you want to be part of it and be
Oh,
part of our
no.
yoga challenge?
I answered that halfway through.
Okay.
You didn't hear that? I said no. I thought you asked me if I wanted to do it in the middle, and I was like, no. And then I was
Absolutely.
like, oh, my bad. She's still talking. Well, so you were asking me. No.
To be clear.
I exercise regularly.
But
And I have a bunch.
yoga is different, honey. Yoga is it's just something about it.
You can like yoga. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. For a fun fact for everybody, yoga is great. I do love yoga. It's whatever you like. So do your thing. I know you like it. Oh, I have a new tag on this.
You'd rather whine about your back than do yoga.
No, I'm exercising. So if you one thing for anybody who's struggling with similar issues that is good to know is that if you do full range of movement in your exercises with weights and weight training, it will do a similar thing because you are stretching and you're activating the muscles to yoga. Everything can work in certain ways and help certain things. So it's not all like yoga would probably be good to do every now and again for me and like doing that stretching. And I do stretch after I work out. Don't stretch before you work out. That's a bad idea. But full range of yeah, because you don't loosen a rubber band before you snap it. But yeah, I don't know. That's what somebody told. In my 4 years of being a personal trainer. And yeah, whatever. But if you do full range of movement, it does help with it's a similar thing to yoga because it's activation and holding and all those things. So like there's different permeations of those things that you find in yoga in weighted exercise. It just looks different and feels a little different, but it goes to a similar goal. So I did an hour of work on my hip today.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So circling back, that's all about whining. It brings me to our first chaos theory topic.
Whoa. We're not ready for chaos theory yet.
We're not ready for chaos theory?
No, other stuff I wanted to talk about.
But it's so funny because I think it's so weird on this podcast. Sometimes we'll start talking about a topic that we have not pre-discussed. And then so weirdly, it flows right into one of my topics that I have ready for us.
We save it at the end. That's at the end. We've been talking for like 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry, honey.
You're getting excited. Keep all this in. This is great.
So I really enjoyed our podcast last week with Rebecca and Siobhan. I hope our listeners liked it. If you like our podcast, give us a sign that we should keep doing it. We need you to subscribe, Give us a 5-star rating.
Are you closing the podcast out in the middle?
No, I just remembered I never say it.
We can say that at the end. We've been doing this for like 4 months.
All right, how about you? You go, because I guess I'm doing everything wrong right now.
No, you're not doing everything wrong. I'm just like, are you ending? We can do that stuff at the end. We're talking.
Please give us a 5-star rating. Like us, subscribe.
Fair.
All right, continue, son.
I was laughing. So I watched the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and it was terrible.
Did you pay for it? Did you get suckered into paying for it?
No, it's on Netflix.
Oh, it was free.
Yeah, well, okay. It's not free. It's on Netflix, but so we put it on at the bar. Everybody's really excited, and then about halfway through, Tyson started to get tired, and like maybe I don't know if people say it's rigged. I don't care, but one thing I kind of was laughing at is that I don't know, I won't say exactly the similarity, but like I thought of a question for the podcast in my head. I was wondering would you fight like if you had a month or two or like 6 months to train, and then you get to pick a woman that is 27 years old, would you box them for like $1 million? Do you think you could last a full 8 rounds? You get 6 months to train, and then you're going to box a woman that is 27 years old for 8 2-minute rounds. Would you do it? A.
Under no circumstance.
You would not do it.
Number one, I'm morally opposed to violence. So,
I mean, you cover football.
Oh, touche. Good point. I, as a young reporter in Salt Lake City, Utah, we had a big UFC event a few years ago, like let's say 10 years ago. UFC is getting hot, big topic. So they send me out to do this story on this fight, and it's 2 female fighters. And you know me, I'm like, let's go, women's sports, I'm the biggest advocate ever for women's sports. And so I do the interviews with these 2 women, and I'm like all into their stories, and I'm like, this is great. And I put together this nice feature. And the last thing I've got to do is go back in the evening for the fight portion and the post-game interview or post-fight interview. 30 seconds into the fight, I almost threw up. I could not stomach and tolerate humans in general, but particularly women beating each other up. I just didn't have the stomach for it. I don't have the stomach for it. I know it's a huge sport. I know a lot of people love it. Watching a woman get kicked in the face is not for me.
Well, this would be boxing. So you would just have to punch a woman in the face.
Honey, do you know that as women get older, our bones get brittle? I would punch something and probably my whole hand would snap off.
Well, that's why we train for 6. So just okay. What about
for $1 million? No,
$2 million.
I can earn $1 million easily doing other things.
For
$2 million, I would maybe think about it. No, I really wouldn't think about it, because
how many millions would you get to where you'd be like 6 months? Let's do it.
For $5 million, I maybe
5.
No, I'm going to go back, because my morals are not for sale. My morals are not for sale, and I am morally opposed. I don't think I could physically and psychologically hit somebody else in the face.
$10 million.
10 million is a lot of money. My morals are not for sale. This is my final answer. My morals are not for sale.
Okay. 20 million.
Now, I would sleep with an older man for $1 million. What was that movie back in the day? The Demi Moore. Remember when there was it Brad Pitt and Demi Moore? They were a young married couple, and Robert Redford swooped in and offered them $1 million to sleep with her for the night.
Oh, isn't it? Is that Indecent Proposal?
Indecent Proposal. Yeah. And the couple had to decide if that was good. Okay. And so she decided she was going to do it for the good of the family. So anyway, I would sleep with Robert Redford for $1 million in a second before I would punch someone in the face.
Well, yeah. Fair.
Is this awkward to talk with your child about who you'd sleep with?
No, I knew you had a crush on Robert Redford.
Yeah, okay.
It's weird because Robert Redford looks like an older Brad Pitt. We might be wrong on the movie, but he already looks like an older Brad Pitt, so it'd be like, for me, that's not that hard. Like, you just do it.
Yeah. If it gives us a down payment on our house and puts our kids through college, yeah.
No, I would. I'm gonna take that to Doc and see what she thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was thinking of a topic this week that I
Okay.
wanted to get into you with. So listening to Rebecca and Siobhan on our podcast last week, and we are definitely going to get more guests because I thought it was so fun to have a guest. What did you
Yeah,
think?
it's a good time. It's a good time.
It was a good time, and we love them, and they're interesting. But I came away from that conversation realizing just how unique parenting styles are. You
Yeah.
know, as different as individuals are and our individual personalities are, that's how many different parenting styles there are. And
Yeah.
so we see all these parenting tips and all these mommy blogs and all these posts and people trying to teach you how to parent. And what I've realized is parenting might be the most personal thing you ever do of how you help your child succeed.
Yeah.
So I came off that podcast thinking, number one, and you already know this because this is definitely something we've talked about before, is I just have to listen better and not try to fix everything for you. I just need to listen to you.
Sometimes I like definitely whenever when I'm asking for help to fix something, that's an okay time to, hop in and get the hands dirty. But
Do the
yeah,
mom magic, that spring into action mom magic.
yeah, yeah. I definitely on that page, I do need to do better on asking when I need help, just asking for it as opposed to be because I get very prideful and be like, ugh, 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 and just get it for the people who are just listening. I did a bunch of faces. Um, yeah, I definitely have a problem with asking for help. That's
Asking for
definitely a
help.
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just uncomfortable.
It's interesting though, because I think people do really want to help you in life. You know, like
Yeah,
I know that when you ask me for help, I enjoy helping you. I want to be a problem solver. I want to be
yeah,
that person that helps you in life. So yeah, I think it's a healthy thing to be vulnerable and to ask for help when you need it.
yeah,
And to be honest about it, because I would much rather you ask me for help early on than to be in a problem down the road. Can I share
yeah.
one problem that we've encountered together? Will you be offended if I share a problem that happened at
Well, what is it?
your first
You
apartment you got by yourself in New York?
No, let's not talk about that on the podcast.
All right. Moral of the story is ask for help early instead of let a problem escalate, snowball, and then it's a really big problem.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to be vulnerable and say, hey, I had to be very vulnerable when I was going through chemo. I had a
Hmm.
couple of work experiences. Speaking of Rebecca and Ryan Rucco, happy birthday, Ryan. It's Ryan's birthday today. We love Ryan.
Oh, happy birthday, Ryan. Ryan's the best.
Yeah, you need to send him a text. But
I will.
anyway, I was going through chemo and I'm trying to show the world, I guess, and show my boss that I'm okay. And, I'm showing up to events and I'm working and I don't feel well. And I am so, like chemo just rocks your body. Anyone who's been through it, you know what I'm talking about. But you're putting on this good face for the world. And I got really angry and upset at Ryan and Rebecca over something one night because I had carried all this equipment to a game and I asked them to film this little thing for ESPNW and they just didn't make time and they kind of forgot. And then I was like, I was frustrated and I was like, oh, and I got so mad in my mind. And I had to kind of come down from that and say to them, I'm not really angry. I'm not really mad. I don't feel well. And I need you guys to treat me with as much kindness and patience as you can because I don't feel well. I can barely get up out of bed to walk into the bathroom in the night. I can barely get up off my seat off the airplane. And just being that vulnerable with them and telling them how sick I really was and how I just really didn't feel well, but I didn't want to tell people, that
Yeah.
really changed our relationship. That so then my friends could just be a little more patient with me. They would walk slower, they would help me with my bag, get out of the cart, like just these little, a million tiny kindnesses that I received from my friends during that time was like probably saved my life. So
Yeah.
being vulnerable, I think, is very important.
Well, it's funny because as we're talking about this, I realize we both have this problem because, like, you tell me, I don't know if we're talking about why, we've had a theme about whining and when to not. But I think you see, and I see it sometimes as well, is when you're asking for help, you don't want to come off like you're whining.
Right.
You don't want to come off as like weak or bitchy and keep that in because it's important. Because bitchy is a whole problem, that word. but like that idea of being perceived as whiny or bitchy or needy, I think we have our own, and they might be passed down from someone, but we have our own. I'm kidding, but we have our
So you're
own.
probably right about that. I agree with you, honey.
Yeah,
It is.
we
You
have.
get that from me.
Yeah, we have a negative opinion about being the squeaky wheel, but the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Like that's kind of the double-edged sword, is because, especially, I mean, when you work in like a corporate situation or any job that you're working at, I know that you kind of instilled this in me, is like if you don't ask for anything and you're just really good at your job, you'll always have a job. But then if you don't ask for anything and you're really good at your job takes advantage of you, and that and it's kind of this weird double-edged sword, because sometimes you do need help, but you don't want to be the squeaky wheel. And sometimes if you are the squeaky wheel, you won't get help and they don't want you around. And it's like this, specifically for women, like we were saying, that's a specifically tough thing to do and go through. But then also sometimes the people who are asking for help the most, they are bitchy. And sometimes the people who aren't asking for any help, they need it the most. And so it's kind of a double, it's a very complicated game that we play. And I know specifically our family does.
Yeah, so I do think I've passed that down to you, is maybe asking for help is seen as a negative, but I do think there's a way to ask for help. And I would love for people to weigh in on this. If you're listening to the podcast, please, message us, send us a message. But I think I've learned through my lifetime that if I'm honest, and I do it with what I would call I messages, my mom and sister are psychologists, so we get a lot of psychology talk in our house. Yeah. An I message is something that I can say, and a statement that I can say that will not put you on the defensive. So like if we're to argue and I say, you are so blah, 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 and those kind of conversations won't go well. An I message conversation will be like, I could really use some help with this. Yeah. I was really hurt when you said this to me, or when you did this to me. So I messaging is always really healthy. So the way I tend to ask for help, and I feel comfortable doing it, is to say, hey, I could really use your help with this.
Yeah.
And I think that is then in a positive way. It's showing vulnerability, but it's also showing that it's not weak to ask for help. It takes great strength, and smart people ask for help. That shows high emotional intelligence to ask for help.
Well, then we are in trouble.
You don't think we're emotionally intelligent?
After you said that, I was like, oh, we're pretty emotionally intelligent. I've been living my life thinking that. And then you just said that, and I was like, oh, maybe not completely. Because we had an argument like a month ago about you just getting a driver from these gigs, and you're like, but I don't need it. I don't need one. I had a bad experience once. And it was
I'll drive myself. I'll drive myself through the night, through the cold, through the rain.
Yeah. And now you've since had a driver, and
it was a good experience. Because part of it too is I'm cheap, honey. I'm like, I don't want to make the company pay for a driver for me. I have all these things. So anyway, I did get a driver after you got on me about it and yelled at me about it. Not yelled at me. You were lovingly suggestive. And
I did yell
had
once.
a driver several times since, and it's gone well. And I felt safe, and I could get work done and be productive and do stuff while not driving myself. So thank you, honey, for pushing me to accept help. It's one thing to ask for the help. It's another thing to accept the help.
Exactly. And you know what? If there's I'm assuming most of the people that listen are moms, but if there's any kids out there, just, if you can drive to school and let your mom drive herself back. Just take a little bit off the plate, just smush. Just the little things they add up.
One thing you do that is my favorite thing that you do is anytime you are home at our house, you take out the garbage. You might not have been home for 6 months. You come home to visit, you take out the garbage. Like, just being a child that is aware that parents have a lot on their plate, and that maybe I could help my parent here or there. That's something I really appreciate about you, is just being aware of parents have a lot of tasks. What could I do that would help my parent?
Yeah. I try to do that with I'm very big on just like the little, like I do that with Tiffany. I do that with the roommates. It's like, just it's just the little stuff. It's also the stuff I get the most annoyed about. When somebody doesn't do it, I get really annoyed about.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I like being the person that's like, if something needs to get cleaned up, I'm gonna do like I want things to be nice for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
All right, now we can do the we had all this gold yet on mine, and you were trying to do the
I was
like
right.
and subscribe, do the chaos there. We had all this stuff.
So we want you to start sending in your topics for chaos theory. Is it okay if I ask the listeners to do that? We would love to hear topics from you on what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about. As you know, chaos theory is something fun we've been doing since he was a child. Of like, all right, we don't know what to do today. Throw something in a hat, and we'll pull something out, and that will decide what we do for the day. So that's what we're doing with our topics on the podcast. My topics today for my chaos theory, honey. Pulling out one. Oh, this is a good one. Negotiating the holidays.
Negotiating the holidays. What does that mean?
What does that mean? So, listen, every parent out there will know exactly what I mean. If you have adult children, next week is Thanksgiving, and we have negotiated that you and your girlfriend are coming to see me for Thanksgiving. As children get older, you start having families of your own, relationships of your own. And I think it's really, really hard for parents to negotiate the holidays with their adult children because we want you all the time. Like, I want you all the time, but I am also very aware that your life is changing and you're going to have other needs and people. And if you're in a relationship, your girlfriend's going to want to go to her parents. So, what advice would you give for negotiating the holidays as an adult child?
Well, definitely be in a relationship where one of the people's parents don't really want to celebrate Thanksgiving. That helps. That's not a very important holiday. But also, girlfriend's a gigging musician, so usually there's gigs around the holidays and stuff. So that does also kind of change the dynamic of holidays. And yeah, she's been living out here a long time, so it's stuff like that. But I mean, it's I honestly the last person to get involved when it comes to that, like the relationship thing, is kind of the parents, because it's also we have to have that conversation and figure out what we want to do. And it can be well, it can be tense, or it can be an argument, or it can not be an argument. It depends on who you're dealing with. But yeah, it's definitely, you guys are definitely the last to be informed about like where. So this is where we're kind of landing. What are your thoughts? And it's kind of, because you don't want it to be like the parents are super involved in the relationship, like kind of like what we talked about last week. Like if especially it's tough when it's a single, like with us, I try to make sure that like, okay, there's these boundaries, so that way it never feels like she has to pull back and forth between you and her for me to do stuff. um so it's really just about like just being thoughtful about it and making sure you can see what everybody's needs are as best you can. You're not always going to be right. You never know. It's everything's always changing and moving. So just to like have conversations with everybody about it. And then also, if somebody has like maybe a beach house, that will definitely get more cachet and there's a little sway. So as the parents, you
Points
got
for
to
me.
have an enticing place to be, but also Arizona is warm. So it's just, you got to have, it's kind of like it's like Shark Tank,
You know, I'm so competitive. This doesn't set me up for success because I am always going to be competitive that you're going to want to come to me
well,
because
it's
I'm
not a
not a normal.
competition.
I,
No, but none of us are normal people.
but you know your mother and that she's going to be competitive. I would just say this, it's really challenging. I think the way our family has done it with my siblings and my parents when my father was alive is we would alternate after, siblings got married, we start having kids and everybody's starting to have their own little family units. We would alternate. So we would have a Rowe family Thanksgiving every other year. So one year you go to the in-laws, one year you go to the Rowe family, but then coordinate that maybe for Christmas too. So, this year might be a Rowe Thanksgiving, but it's an in-law, whatever. So we're at least seeing everybody. And I was
smart.
talking to some
I forgot
people
about
about this. I went to this cool thing in Georgia on Saturday, and their son just got drafted to play Major League Baseball. And I'm having a conversation because, now he's busy and he's playing Major League Baseball, and they're talking about their siblings, but they've got multiple kids. And so like the kids want to see each other. So you've got to organize the parent, we're lucky because we're a single parent household and just one child. But like you'd have to coordinate it with your siblings potentially. So like, okay, if I'm coming home to see mom and dad, I want all of you coming home to see mom and dad at the same time. So I get to see my siblings too. So anyway, I just do think there's negotiation and healthy conversations that need to happen around this time of the year that I thought people might be interested in.
Yeah, and it's an intense. I mean, we'll talk about it more on other episodes, but it's an intense time of the year too, because you have to make money for gifts, you have to make money to travel, and then also you have to the emotional component of like, if I don't spend enough time at your house, you'll be mad, but if I don't see somebody because haven't been home in a year and I don't go see them when I'm back, then they'll feel left. And and then like, me and so and so haven't really talked, and like our relationship's strained, so I got to talk to them. But like families are it's a lot. But we'll talk about it more on other episodes. But that's a teaser. I don't know if we'll talk about ours, but we'll definitely just give you unsolicited advice on how to do so.
Lots of unsolicited advice, but also like lots of learning from our own mistakes. So I have one holiday I do remember. You were in high school actually, but you had a pretty serious girlfriend in high school, and she invited you over to her parents' and grandparents' house for Easter Sunday. And we weren't really doing much and weren't celebrating. And so I was like,
we never really did anything.
We didn't really do anything. And I was like, yeah, go with her. Like, I want you to be happy. I want you to go with her, so that you can have a great experience with your girlfriend. But I really was going to be home by myself all day. And so you very generously, and she invited me to come with you to her family's house. And I always thought that was a really generous, thoughtful moment for you and her. And that was probably her idea. I don't know whose idea that was. But I came with you to the Easter Sunday at your girlfriend's parents and grandparents' house, and I had a great time, and it was a lot of fun. And I just remember feeling grateful that you were thoughtful that I don't want my mom to be home by herself. So I just think that was something thoughtful as we were negotiating holidays.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that.
You don't remember that?
Yes.
Her grandparents' house, the beautiful, nice house in Bountiful.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, point for me that somebody here has a better memory than you, and you never give me credit for it. Okay,
I do.
What's your topic?
Well, either way, but I before we leave that, I'm now realizing this would be fine for the podcast. You're gonna have to do some traveling. That's
right. I think that's going to be right, so that I'm not by myself on Thanksgiving. I might have to come to you. Right.
Exactly. I think that might be a thing. Okay. How do you recharge your batteries?
Oh,
you as a person. I thought of that one because I was like, we're gonna have next week. It's kind of like because it's the holiday. This week is a little packed full of stuff to do. And me and Tiff were talking about this, good old Docky Doc. We're talking about like I was like, this should be. I've noticed that like for holidays, and then we fell into this because today I've been doing a bunch of scheduling stuff. But like, I feel like before holidays, everybody packs a bunch of stuff in, and then you can't really fully relax during the holiday because you're just kind of coming off of this like hum, and then you kind of finally hit your relaxation area before you have to go back to life and like go back into doing everything. Or like, especially with the holidays, there's a bunch of parties and then you got to go see everybody. And so you're never actually like completely relaxing despite it being a holiday. I did air quotes for the listeners. So how do you when you're, especially, I think if anybody knows how to talk about like recharging and keeping going, it should probably be you, since you're always going doing stuff. Yeah.
I have two very dramatic ways that I recharge my battery.
Perfect.
And when I say dramatic, I mean they are polar opposites of each other. So like last night, I knew that I didn't have to be up early today. I didn't have a lot on my plate today. And so I stayed up way too late watching a ridiculous Tyler Perry Beauty in Black on Netflix. when I say it's just like a ridiculous soap opera drama, absolutely crazy, and yet very watchable, and I'm very entertaining. And so sometimes I recharge my battery by absolutely turning my brain off and just watching something mindless, watching something silly, watching something. I'm deep into the Hallmark movie channel movies right now. Oh my gosh, I just watched one, Christmas in Norway, on the Hallmark channel. Might be the most charming thing I've watched in my life. Bawling, I was crying. Christmas in Norway, son. Watch that with Tiffany.
Okay.
It's so darling. Because they're like these silly rom-coms, but it was so happy and hope-filled and darling. It was just absolutely charming. So that's one way I regroup, is like kind of watch something, turn my brain off, learn something about a different culture, people I'm not aware of.
I don't know how culturally
That's
accurate holidays in Norway are, but
well, they had a
Christmas
lot
in
of
Norway.
traditions in there. They had a lot of traditions in there. Anyway, the other way that I recharge my battery is physically. And so I took time to get a massage this week. I did yoga this week. I just went on a long walk in the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that recharging my battery is both mental, but more importantly, physical. And sometimes it's counterproductive. Like you're like, I've been on the go, blah, blah, blah. I've been in 4 cities in the last 6 days. I've been on the go. I just need to sit down and be still. But then my body is like, no, I need something. You're abusing me. And so I definitely have a mental reset and a physical reset.
That's good. That's perfect.
How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm very similar. My recharge is definitely like I need to sit in silence and watch a movie. And just it's all A, because like that's what I want to do with my life. So it gives me just a little like it's just like enjoying that and like letting any nervousness wash out. And then also it's just like being at rest and kind of just like focusing on something. It's almost meditative.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday, because I worked through the weekend and then um sadly Doc had a gig, so I was kind of just alone at the apartment with Mushroom, and I was just like
Mushrooms the cat.
Mushroom's the cat. I was just I'll send a picture so everybody can see how cute he is. But I was just like mindlessly watching. I think I watched what did I watch? I watched The Rock and something called The Foreigner, which is
Oh,
just a
The Foreigner's good. I've seen
the
that.
one with Jackie Chan.
It's phenomenal.
You've seen the one with Jackie Chan?
Yes, I saw it when it came out 25 years ago.
Nope, you're thinking of the wrong movie. This came out in 2017. But anyways,
Oh, maybe I haven't seen The Foreigner with Jackie Chan.
it's a very vague title, and he's not in it a bunch. But I just like sat, and then I watched The Rock with Nicolas Cage
Sean
and Sean
Connery
Connery.
and Nicolas Cage, phenomenal movie.
Great movie, great time. Ed Harris is amazing. But it was just, I just literally, it was like I was a dead person. If you would have walked in, you'd been like, he hasn't moved in 45 minutes. Like it's thick as breathing, because I was just staring, just like at total peace. And like today, I feel completely rested. So, and I can woke up early enough, and get on with get doing stuff and feeling I have energy. And then I do feel like the exercising. I think for me, exercising is like something you need to do regularly so that you can recharge properly. Because if you don't do it's there was a 2 week period recently where I didn't work out at all, and like relaxing was harder. I felt like because I hadn't been exercising, so I just felt bad about relaxing, because then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, I'm being lazy, and then also your body kind of hurts. Like I was like, oh, my back hurts, and you can't get comfortable, and then you just don't feel good. So like, I think that is kind of the key, is finding a way to like you said, exercise regularly, and then just like sit down and shut your brain off. I always say with a movie, but like a book, whatever. I have 2 books that I need to read. I just bought 2 books, and I have not
What
read
are
them.
they?
One's called The Sea of Tranquility, and the other one is called the Lathe of Heaven.
The Sea of Tranquility and the Lathe of Heaven. This sounds
Yes,
existential crisis-ish.
they're hard sci-fi. I was trying to find something to read that would be like interesting to read, and I was like, you know what?
Mm.
I feel like because like mystery novels can be a little bit like tropey, and like it's kind of the same stuff over and over again. So I was like, you know what? And I've been doing too much like reading of anything that's like just like autobiographical, or like I've read a bunch of self-help books and they're all the same thing. And so I was like, I need something that's a little more branching out. So I have these books and they are dusty. I need to get in there.
Okay. All right. Here's my last topic, which I think was such a cute topic. Appreciation nibbling.
What the hell is that?
So I saw this guy on Instagram, and I'll have to see if I can find his name to post. His name is Michael, and he is kind of an inspirational guy on Instagram. He'll be like, "Hi, my name is Michael, and if you need to up spiral your life, da 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 da." But he talked about this concept about how you can actually reset your brain and your body to have more positive thoughts. And the way he described doing that was to nibble at appreciation for a minute at a time. So set a timer for 1 minute. And during that 1 minute, you would say, man, I'm really grateful I have a new shirt. I'm really grateful. I appreciate that I have a home to live in, that I've paid my rent, that my apartment's good. I have appreciation that I have friends and family. I'm appreciative that my shoes are making my feet feel comfortable. Like it is, if you look at the course of your day, there are 7,000 things happening to get you focusing more in your daily life, in your brain, about everything that's going right in your life, so that you are living in this really positive, joyful place about all these things that we take for granted every single day. So I decided I would like to do some appreciation nibbling. So I'm going to give you a few things I appreciate about you. Can I nibble away at you with appreciation? That sounded a little weird, but I didn't mean it weird. I think it sounds cute and weird.
I don't love it. Continue.
I'll allow it, sir. I appreciate that every single time I call you, you will get back to me immediately. You'll either text me and say, hey, I'm in a movie, or hey, I'm at work, or hey, I whatever, and then you'll get back to me. So I have a clear expectation of when I'll communicate with you. I really appreciate that. It makes me always feel super connected to you. I appreciate that you are following my location and that you care where I am in the world. So if I drive off a road somewhere, someone will be able to find me, and that you care enough about your mother to follow her location. I appreciate that you're funny as hell. You are so funny and cute and fun to be around. I just constantly laugh every time I'm with you. And I just appreciate that so much about you. And I appreciate you that for the most part, you are so kind and loving. Once in a while, you're snippy, 90% kind and loving, 3% snippy, but I appreciate you very much.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate, you know what? I'll do my appreciation diddles. What is it?
Nibbling.
Nibbles. I'll do my appreciation nibbles next time so that I can have some good ones. I'll do it now. All right. I appreciate you do look out. I appreciate how much you look out for me and care. Even though you have to, you still do a great job of doing it. I appreciate how hardworking you are. You do a lot of stuff that's tough, and like you're traveling all the time. And I appreciate I'm having to put these together so they sound good in my head, because this is being recorded and I don't want to sound like an idiot. I appreciate how adventurous you are. You are always willing to go do fun stuff, and then also be late. I think that's not enough people can hit that dichotomy so perfectly.
And also be what, honey?
Adventurous.
Oh, be adventurous and be hardworking.
And lazy.
Adventurous and lazy. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, because we will sit on the couch and binge watch something.
No, yeah. It's like my favorite thing to do. If my life could just be that, I totally would. But then I would also hate it probably after a while. So
you have to find a way to get paid to watch movies. That's the key.
I know. All those things on Instagram are a scam. I tried them. But there's ads on Instagram that were like, get paid to watch Netflix. It was a scam. But yeah, those are what I appreciate about you.
Well, thank you. So I like that. Doesn't that feel good in your mind and body to acknowledge and think of positive things? I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely need to do that more. I'm not negative necessarily, but I can be.
We've established whiny.
There you go. So.
Okay, so let's circle back next week. Let's try a week of appreciation nibbling and circle back next week and see how it's gone. And if you feel like it's kind of changed your positivity or mindset, or how it's bringing, and his whole thing is kind of like bringing manifestation into your life, of manifesting positive things for yourself.
I like it. Yes. We're going to manifest destiny.
All right. Nibble away, my love. Nibble away. All right. If you like is now the time to do it? You do it. I don't even know how to do it.
No, you do it. You got it. Go.
We need you to like, sign up, subscribe, 5-star reviews, give us some feedback. We want your chaos theories. We need to hear from you. I think we're building this community that likes hearing how parents and kids work things out, talk things out. And we want to be a resource for you too. So please let us know your chaos theories, things you'd like to hear from us, and how we're doing.
Yeah, and let's start a competition. How many people are mommers and how many people are mackers? Let's just see who they like more on the podcast. Let's get toxic.
Remember how we kept talking about we're overly competitive?
Yep, and it's the first thing that popped in my head. We were like, "Oh, let's do chaos theory," and I was like, "What if we just found out, like, okay, whose side are you more on in these arguments?" Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, we should. Like, who's right? Okay, I like
this is the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson of it, because I'm close to his age or whatever. So like, All right. I love you, Mom.
I love you more. Have a positive, nibbling, appreciative week. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye.